This is going to be a big test. The Super Mario Brothers movie, if it was going to be animated, you got a couple of big actually, you got an entire star-studded cast. That was going to make money. Did anybody anticipate it making $1 billion? Well, Super Mario is the face of video games, and it had wide appeal to everybody. So yeah, that's possible. What is Nintendo? Because, well, okay, you got one successful franchise. You might as well just spin it off. You're going to be doing more video game adaptations because that ground looks exceptionally fertile. What's the next avenue to take? Well, probably the second most. Your positions may vary. I would say Donkey Kong, and I'm sure that's probably in development. But one thing that ended up getting confirmed in the past couple of days is that a Legend of Zelda movie is in development right now. And some of the people that are at play at this one and the medium that they're looking to present this story with, it's interesting, man, because this one right here, this is going to be the big test. Okay, so the Legend of Zelda live action movie finally happening from Nintendo and Sony Pictures. Sony, that one's weird, because if you know anything about the Nintendo-Sony relationship over the years, well, not that long ago, they weren't exactly on the best of terms, but everybody's kind of coming together on that one. But a live action Legend of Zelda, as opposed to making more animated classics, something that could be very safe. This is interesting, man. If they really are branching out like that, and the last few times that they've licensed out the Legend of Zelda property, just take a look at the CDO video, the CDI video games. Philips discs from the early 90s. This is going to be a problem. It's going to be a big old problem. More than 37 years after the Legend of Zelda video game was first released on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo is now developing a Zelda movie. Nintendo issued a press release on Tuesday, and Shigeru Miyamoto took over the Nintendo Japanese Twitter account and decided to go, "Hi, I'm Miyamoto, and we're developing a Legend of Zelda video or a movie." And it's like, really? What? That's how you're going to announce it? But okay, Shigeru Miyamoto, who created the original NES Legend of Zelda video game with Takashi Tezuka, is producing the film. So that's good. That's good. And the reason, or one of them that you can point to the success of the Super Mario Brothers movie from earlier this year, is because Nintendo had a very strong presence in the creation process. They were hands-on with that development. And if Shigeru Miyamoto is going to be hands-on with this, okay, it's got promise. He's had some duds, nobody's going to quite forget the Wii music debacle. Okay, like, that's still very much out there. Not everything that he does is in his traditional venue is a banger either. Okay, Star Fox Zero is still a problem, but okay, it shows promise. Miyamoto will also produce alongside Arad Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That one's well regarded, right? That's the first one. With Wes Ball, the Maze Runner trilogy. I don't think that was as well regarded, but okay. The announcement also came hours after it was revealed that Nintendo's blockbuster Super Mario Brothers movie helped boost the company's overall profits. Yeah, exactly. They were probably earmarking at least a little bit of a profit, but it was the biggest movie until another adaptation came over. But at least, one of those was well regarded, and the other one was like, well, it's good if you watch it in a certain way. But if you're going to be advertising, an upcoming Legend of Zelda movie, why wouldn't you use it, or rather, why wouldn't you market it with the most recent release? Because, yeah, Breath of the Wild was probably more popular, but there was a Zelda game that came out this year, Tears of the Kingdom. Miyamoto also issued a statement on the official Twitter page. Nintendo Twitter page alongside the press release. "I've been working on a live-action film with The Legend of Zelda for many years now with Arad-san." That name sounds weird with san at the end of it. Who has produced many mega-hit films. Sort of. I have asked Avi-san to produce this film with me, and we have now officially started the development of that film with Nintendo itself heavily involved in production. That's a good thing. Miyamoto admitted it would take time until completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it. Yeah, trepidatiously, that's for sure. Because myself and many other people have thought, because, well, the superhero genre, I'm not saying is dying off in so much as they took inspiration from Kurt Cobain and went out that way. Hollywood, if it's going to continue in any form or fashion, is going to need a new trend to pilfer, and video games and mid-budget action films looks like the way forward. And yeah, a Legend of Zelda movie, looks to be a pretty safe proposition. But if they can spin it into a live action success, then they really got something on their hands right there, because then, you might end up getting like a Metroid movie that's a little bit closer to its original inspiration, which will be funny to see that one go completely full circle. If you get a live action Metroid movie that has the aesthetics of the old Alien films or even Aliens, and then it's better than even the current incarnations in the past 2 releases from the Aliens franchise, that would be... But we're getting so far ahead of ourselves at this point in time. There's so many different things that they could actually do with this. Like a proper banger Pokemon film would be enormous. Like Detective Pikachu, when did that come out? 2020 or something like that? Nobody talks about that at all. But if they do it right under this current regime of Nintendo executives, closely in the creative rooms, that would be huge. News comes, 7 months after the Super Mario Brothers movie, based on the hit video game, also created by Miyamoto. Yeah, did you guys know that the Shigeru Miyamoto guy, he's pretty much a genius when it comes to video games, debuted to $146.3 million, en route to $574.9 million domestically. Yeah, the second just behind, Barbie. Yeah, just behind with, holy shit, $60 million. $62 million, Jesus, and $1.362 billion worldwide, going back to Super Mario. The Super Mario Brothers movie was the first project based on a Nintendo video game since the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie, starring John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. All the way up until his death, Bob Hoskins would not talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie because it was such a travesty. When you have Dennis Hopper playing Bowser, you got a problem, because everything was off on that one, including Nintendo's involvement. Couple that with them licensing out some of their most treasured franchises to people that didn't take them as seriously as them. That's what kind of stemmed any sort of video game adaptations, any sort of Nintendo properties being adapted for the silver screen, probably for those 20 some odd years that they sat on the outsides looking in. Now that the new Mario Brothers movie proved to be a huge hit, Nintendo is looking to capitalize on the success of adapting perhaps the company's biggest game ever. No, it's still Mario. Well, actually, if you go by sales, it's Pokemon, then Mario. Pokemon is such a juggernaut. And I can understand why, the game's fun as hell. The film will be co-financed by Nintendo and Sony Pictures Entertainment, with a more than 50% financed by Nintendo. So yeah, good. That was the winning formula from the Super Mario Brothers movie, and, well, you'll be able to ride or die by that same formula with the Legend of Zelda game. It's going to be interesting how you approach that, because, well, there's been so many different ways that you can look at this, even though it's like, the overarching story is, the hero of time goes and saves the princess, connects all 3 pieces of the Triforce and defeats Ganon. Like, it's a really simple story. It's just, how are you going to approach it? Because throughout the, the 37 years, and I wouldn't even begin to know how many specific games, dozens and dozens of games, different depictions of Link, different depictions of Zelda and Ganon or Ganondorf. Like, that ground is just as fertile as Super Mario. It's just probably not as known to as many people. It'll just be very interesting, because I remember everybody shitting on the casting decisions for the Super Mario Brothers movie. It'll be really interesting who they end up picking for Link, for Princess Zelda, and then for Ganon itself. Or what the storyline is going to be. Is it going to be like the original, where it was just, basic bitch adventure game? Will it be Link to the Past, where you got the 2 different timelines? Ocarina of Time, probably the most famous Legend of Zelda game. Are you going to do that with time jumping originally off the bat? I'd imagine that'd be a little bit later. Same with Majora's Mask. Or do you start at the beginning with Skyward Sword, adapting that? Like, see, there's so many different ways that you can go. But because of the success of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and knowing that Nintendo's going to be hands-on with this development, there's actually cause and justification to anticipate this, because they've shown somewhat of a track record. And if they continue and follow up on that, the opportunities are endless. And the thoughts behind the idea that eventually all of these properties come together and you have an Avengers-like team-up with a big Super Smash Brothers film looks incredibly popular. And with Nintendo being the kings of the video game market right now, look at the top-selling consoles out there right now. It's like the Switch and everybody else. But they just showed you, if you make a good movie, if you make a non-offensive movie, if you just make a movie that is loyal to the source material, people will come. That's why people gave this MCU its dues in the early stages. That's why they gave them the opportunity, so that they could go in a bunch of different directions, so that you could have an Ant-Man film for better or worse. Meaning that because the Super Mario Brothers movie was a success, if the Legend of Zelda movie can be a success, then we end up with, a Metroid game, Donkey Kong game, like an animated Kirby movies, like, is just sitting right out there. But me personally, I would love to see like a racing feature, or if they want to go up in the sky with, Star Fox. But you know what? Hey man, just get a good Ford v Ferrari type F-Zero movie. Oh, that'd be fucking tits. But we're trying to put the cart before the horse on this one. Just nail this first live action endeavor, and we'll see where else we can go from there. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.